know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We only, you know, we're all going to die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it. You know, those steps have would have allowed that. Those steps have been the, you know, the platforms that allowed me to make it this far. I'm not trying to regurgitate myself. I showed people that I understand how to make perfect. I'm trying to make a higher level of product for the real world. I'm here to crack the pavement and make new grounds, you know, sonically and society, culturally. I'm gonna try to make something that jumps up and affects you. You know, there's a series of, you know, people who like write just negative comments. They want to joke around and say, why is he still trying? Why is he doing this? I've got so much I want to give. I've got ideas on color palettes. I've got ideas on silhouettes. And I've got a million people telling me why I can't do it. You know, that I'm not a real designer, I'm not this. I'm not a real rapper either. I'm not a real musician either. Like, I don't know how to play the piano. Like, I'm an artist. I went to art college. Let me explain what anybody that knows an artist, and you know someone that's giving that, if you know an artist, there's only one thing you can say, give, or ask them when you see them. There are two words: thank you. There's no, why didn't you do this? Yo, I want that. What's up? No, we dedicate our entire life to making our current time and civilization better, to adding something to the culture. And there is only two words that you can say: thank you. I've got a very particular, specific take on men's footwear. No one can say I cannot design or understand how to design a guy's sneaker. When I was in 4th grade, I was drawing Jordans. When my mama couldn't afford them, I was drawing those Jordans. Getting kicked out of class for drawing them. And when I got that opportunity to work with Nike, I went into that emotional space and place in my life and said, what was it about that? What were the cues that I can add when I make the Yeezys? You know, I don't ever do interviews. And I wasn't the one rapper that had the opportunity to do a shoe with Nike for no reason. It means it has to be another step. It means it has to keep going. People didn't love the Yeezys the way they did for no reason. Picture this: for me to do the Yeezys and not have a joint venture backing deal with Nike the next day would have been like if I made Jesus Walks and was never allowed to make an album. If Drake made his first mixtape and was never allowed to be signed. If you're an architect, if you're a world builder, if you have all these ideas and you're a Gaudi and you want to build buildings, if you don't ever get that out, what's gonna happen? You cannot create that on your own with no support, with no backing. Even it's like I couldn't have done this album without Rick Rubin. I had to have a Zen master come in and say, okay, this is just what we're gonna do. If I go somewhere and someone says, hey, we don't like Kanye West, you've heard that before, right? What people don't realize is, I wanna make uniforms for my high school basketball team through Brand Yeezy. I wanna make that one step and then make another step and then eventually do uniforms for the entire city. Then I want those uniforms to be hot and make money then I eventually want to be the anchor and the force behind $1 billion company. And after I made that $1 billion step, then I can go in and say, hey, I've got an opinion on this. And that could be a $10 billion step. And I eventually want to be the anchor of the first $1 trillion company. I always felt like I could do anything. That's the main thing people are controlled by. Thoughts, their perception of themselves. They're slowed down by their perception of themselves. If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything. And I'm Kanye West at age 36. So just watch the next 10 years. We got this new thing called classism. It's racism's cousin. This is what we do to hold people back. This is what we do. And we got this other thing that's also been working for a long time where you don't have to be racist anymore. It's called self-hate. It works on itself. It's like real estate of racism. where just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a God, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. How could you say that? How could you have that mentality? People think a lot of my motivation is very like megalomaniac and self-oriented. To the contrary, completely. I just want to help. From day one, I just wanted to help. Like my father was a Black Panther. My father was a journalist, a paparazzi, a photojournalist. He was a paparazzi. We had a dark room in our house. Like 7 years ago, he lived at a homeless shelter. Not because he was homeless, because he wanted to help the ex-drug addicts. He wanted to get that close. He started a foundation called Good Water and moved to the Dominican Republic to help right there. To help with the prostitution, to help with the extortion, to help right there. He stays in the Dominican Republic right now. My mom was the first Black female chair of the English department. There is no award show, there's no amount of billboards, there's nothing that can define me or make me pass what my parents made me. And that's exactly who I am. If you're a Kanye West fan, you're not a fan of me, you're a fan of yourself. You will believe in yourself. I'm just the espresso. I'm just a shot in the morning to get you going, to make you believe that you can overcome that situation that you're dealing with all the time. But I'm doing it for everyone. I'm doing it for the people who don't appreciate it, because they'll appreciate it later. And of course, I'm doing it for the people who appreciate it. If no one appreciates it, I know it's a couple people up there that appreciate it.